What is up, everybody? I am back. My name is Ricardo with another Sports Edition episode. I'm a member of the SHG Boys. I want you guys to continue to like, comment, and subscribe. We love you. We appreciate your feedback, and we're going to continue to give these videos for you guys. This episode is going to be about the Super Bowl. I hope this video is posted before the Super Bowl. I've been so busy with schoolwork, and I'm very pushing at the last minute. The Super Bowl is tomorrow. So hopefully we can submit and upload this video to you guys before then. But we have the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. This was a Super Bowl that I predicted before the playoffs started. I only had a few miscues, right, in my bracket. So in terms of where we are today, and I will get the wild card round. So in terms of the Bills and the Colts, I did have the Bills winning. In terms of the Seahawks and Rams, I actually had the Seahawks winning. I overrated the heck out of the Seahawks offense. It was just awful in the second half of the year. They fired their offensive coordinator in the offseason. They just couldn't get it together with Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and Carson. They just looked atrocious. Like, they were awful. And that Rams defense certainly locked them up. Buccaneers and the Washington football team, I had the Buccaneers winning. But let me tell you something. That Washington, like, third or fourth string, that Heineke guy, I mean, he looks like he could be on an NFL roster for the time being because he played phenomenal. He made a lot of clutch moments, very few errors. His confidence was amazing. And if we're being honest, they played the Bucs well. I mean, Tom Brady had to put up nearly 400 yards on that tough Washington defense to overcome those odds. So then we get to the Ravens and Titans. I was going back and forth on this because I'm a big Lamar Jackson fan. I think he gets too much hate, right? And the Ravens defense, they shut down Derrick Henry. He only had 40 yards. That's insane. Derrick Henry's a tank, right? And Lamar Jackson was able to have 136 yards rushing. And Marquise Brown had 109 yards receiving, and that ultimately was the difference. So I had the Tennessee Titans winning. I didn't think the Ravens would be able to contain Derrick Henry, but they did. And that was the ultimately the deciding factor. And I also thought that Ryan Tannehill could make plays, and he didn't make a lot of plays. The play calling was pretty bad on Tennessee's part, but like I said, give Ravens credit for that one. In terms of the Bears and Saints, I don't think anybody had the Bears winning, so I had the Saints. In terms of Browns and Steelers, I admit I had the Steelers. I will admit I thought the Steelers were going to win because the Browns had a COVID outbreak. They didn't even have their coach. They didn't even have Kevin Stefanski. They had a lot of their players out, right? So they were barely able to practice. You know what I mean? And a lot of the Steelers players rested that last week to get prepared for this playoff game, only to stink up the joint. Not only did you have Juju with the TikTok dances. Yeah, he showed up. He had 157 and a touchdown, but it was garbage yards. Ben Roethlisberger, 4 INTs, not going to get it done. They're talking about he's going to have to renegotiate his contract. Yeah, you threw 4 picks, bro. 4 picks. He did his Jameis Winston impersonation. You know, James Conner, there's no way they're going to repay him. I mean, they're barely giving him the ball as it is. I just don't remember the Steelers being so pass heavy nowadays. He only had 37 rushing yards. I thought that they were going to feed him a lot more in this game. But, I mean, it's really hard to do that when they were coming from behind because I'm pretty sure the Browns were up 28-0 at one point. I mean, the first play, Pouncey just overshoots the snap and the Browns score. I mean, what else do you need to know? What can go wrong will go wrong. That was the story of that game. Congrats to the Browns for winning a playoff game. Their fans are so passionate. They're fun to mess around with because they get sensitive at times and you know what I mean? So it was fun to see them win a playoff game. It's going to be fun to see where the Browns are going to end up next year. So in terms of the divisional round, I had the Packers winning. The Rams, they somewhat played them tough. Cam Akers gave him a good 90 yards. Jared Goff played fine, but he didn't do enough to score. They only had 18 points, which is part of the reason why I understand them trading Jared Goff for Matt Stafford, even though they gave up a crap ton of picks, in my opinion. I think they gave up like 2 firsts and a third. I do think they gave up too much for Matt Stafford, but I understand them trading Goff because they already have an elite defense. They just need that offense to pick it up, right? And in Matt Stafford, he has a big time arm. He can make any throw. They believe that he has the personnel around him to get the job done, right? So it should be interesting to see what the Rams are going to be like with Matt Stafford coming up. Let's see. Then we have the Bills and the Ravens. I actually thought this was going to be a good game. I'm not even going to lie, because I thought that the Bills had a mediocre run defense, and I thought the Ravens could exploit it. And I mean, Lamar Jackson had a concussion during the game, but before that, he wasn't really doing anything. So the Bills pretty much won convincingly. It wasn't really that much of a game. The Browns and the Chiefs, I had the Chiefs winning this one. Credit the Browns. You know, they kind of got screwed when Higgins extended the ball and Kansas City's linebacker hit him in the helmet. And yeah, a penalty should have been called. But at the end of the day, I can't fault Higgins, right? You're trying to make a play in the end zone and you're trying to get your team to win. And, the linebacker for Kansas City made a football play. You know what I mean? So Patrick Mahomes also went down in that game with a concussion. And if you let Chad Henne beat you on a last-second scramble, no offense, Browns fans, but y'all deserve to lose. Not to mention that Kansas City's run defense is mediocre, and Chubb only got 69 yards. Nice. So, yeah, I mean, that was that. So then we go to the Buccaneers and the Saints. I had the Buccaneers winning. Everybody always kind of overrates the Saints in the playoffs. I think they choke all the time. You look at how they lost to the Vikings, the previous year. I'll give you they got robbed, kind of. No, they got robbed. That was a clear pass interference on Roby Coleman, but they definitely got robbed against the Rams that one year. And it would have been interesting to see that Saints team against that New England team in the Super Bowl. Breeze versus Brady, but they always fall short in the playoffs. You know what I mean? They've got the roster, but this year they just didn't deliver. Drew Brees, 3 INTs, couldn't throw a ball over 20 yards. He looked old. Kamara didn't do enough. Only 85 yards, no rushing touchdowns. Michael Thomas had no catches. Yeah, the guy may have had all-season surgery. He may have had like a foot injury. I understand that, but you chose to play. If you're gonna play, and if I'm the best receiver, I got to produce, or else I'm just a liability for my team, right? So Tom Brady was great. He had almost 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like I said, they just capitalized off of New Orleans turnovers. That defense for Tampa Bay certainly showed up. There's rumors about whether Drew Brees is going to retire. He shouldn't retire. I think like what with what Ben Roethlisberger is doing with Pittsburgh. I think I read a source that Drew Brees is renegotiating his contract with the Saints. So maybe he sticks around for another year. I don't know, man. Drew Brees looked pretty washed up in that game. So I don't know if he can play another 16, 17, 18 games. We'll see. We'll see. It just didn't look good. You know what I mean? So now we get to the NFC and AFC championships. Again, I had the Buccaneers winning. You know what I mean? It wasn't necessarily because I thought Aaron Rodgers would choke. It's just something else to me how Tom Brady likes playing in cold weather, right? Like he always finds a way to get it done in the cold. I remember he won the AFC championship in the cold against Kansas City. you know. And yeah, maybe Kansas City got robbed in that game as well with Chris Jones, whatever, being offsides or whatever. But I'm like, man, the guy just thrives in the cold weather. And what did Green Bay do? That DB King, he gave up that deep ball to Scotty Miller before the end of the half. And I don't know if Brady saw something. I don't know if he told Bruce Arians, like, hey, this is what we got to do. But before at the end of the half, that touchdown against Green Bay was brutal. Brutal. And then it was like from there, Brady just started to just throw a bunch of stupid passes. He threw 3 picks, but in the first half, he was deadly. And that ultimately was that was I mean, that was it. That was it. They were able to capitalize in the first half for sure. In the second half, it was more of a game because Brady was throwing picks, but he was sharp in that first half. Rodgers certainly outplayed Brady. He hit another gear. You know, the MVP of the league. He had 3 touchdowns, 1 INT, nearly 350 passing yards. It was just awful because he was in the red zone and Matt LaFleur wanted to go for a field goal. You know what I mean? Instead of going for the touchdown or whatnot, he settled for a field goal, and Brady never gave him the ball back. Like, you got to realize who you're playing against. Brady's not just going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, we're going to let you get the ball back. Nah, run the clock, game over. And like I said, Brady wasn't consistent in this game at all, but him being phenomenal in that first half had to make Rodgers play phenomenal in that second half. And by Matt LaFleur not trusting Rodgers enough after his performance to get it done, it's got to be frustrating for Aaron Rodgers. It's like, what more is it going to take? You know, we've been in the NFC Championship for 2 years in a row, and we have lost. We've lost. So what do they need to get it over the hump? I think they need another receiver. In this game, Valdez-Scantling had 115. He's not going to consistently give you that. Yeah, you have Devontae Adams. Rodgers and Adams are the best 1-2 punch in the league, but definitely another receiver, someone to help Rodgers get over that hump. Just give him as much help as possible because the man is delivering. The man is delivering. The guy had to make a second half comeback. You know what I mean? Because Brady was so phenomenal in the first half. Rodgers had to go crazy in the second. But it's really hard to finish a team off if you have limited amount of weapons. So I really hope in the draft they give Rodgers another receiver, kind of similar to Lamar Jackson. That's the one thing they need to get over the hump. Give him another receiver, right? So now we go to the Super Bowl. As I started with, I predicted that it was going to be the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The narrative behind this is that you have Patrick Mahomes, who is quote unquote baby goat. He is the golden boy. He is the next face of the league, right? You look at his first year, he won MVP. Then he won the Super Bowl his next year. And now he has a chance to repeat. The last team to do that was the Patriots 16 years ago when Tom Brady did it, right? So it's just something else when you have a chance to play Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, right? It's just something against Tom Brady that drives that narrative, right? To say, I beat Tom. We're talking about a guy with 6 championships, and you have a chance to get it done in your 3rd year in the league. Mahomes has already accomplished everything. Largest contract in NFL history, won an MVP, won a championship. But on a resume, you can say you beat Brady that young? That's incredible. Only few quarterbacks can do it. Eli did it. Nick Foles did it. That's it. That's it, folks. 2 quarterbacks. Two. But you have a chance to do it You got the weapons. You got Tyreek Hill, who went nuts on him the first time. He had like 200 yards in the first quarter. You got Travis Kelce. How is Tampa Bay's secondary going to stop him? Todd Bowles is going to have to execute his blitzes perfectly and put enough pressure on Mahomes. Mahomes doesn't have pretty much any of his starting offensive line, whether it's from injuries, whether it's due to COVID. I know they had one guy opt out of the season due to COVID. The rest has been due to injuries. Schwartz injuries, Fisher injuries, right? And all of them are pretty much in the same boat, right? So Tampa Bay's front, where it's going to be, was Sue, Shaquille Barrett, Devin White, Jason Pierre-Paul. Those guys are going to have to get to Mahomes, right? Because if they don't, with his liability of an offensive line, Mahomes is going to carve him up. He's going to get 300, 400 yards because they already can't cover Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, right? Like, yeah, like let's say in a perfect world they do double Tyreek Hill. Travis Kelce will go underneath every time and get you 7-8 yards. So they're really going to have to force Travis Kelce out wide to make him not even in the play. Jam him and force him one way and double Tyreek Hill and have one spy on Mahomes. Other than that, Tampa Bay secondary really doesn't have a chance. I hear they're going to get Antoine Winfield back. They have Dean back there. He's okay. But they also have Whitehead back there. I think he's going to get healthy as well. But I just don't know if it'll be enough. It's hard to bet against Brady because, like I said, few quarterbacks can beat him. And you look at how Tampa Bay is on their home turf. Yeah, it's a limited amount of fans and things like that. But, I mean, it's their home turf. It gives you something extra to play for. I hear there's going to be some rain. I think it'll pass. I think they'll be fine. Credit Roger Goodell. I'm not a fan of Roger Goodell, but he's letting a lot of healthcare workers into that stadium. So it won't totally be a Tampa Bay home game field. But like I said, in the middle of a pandemic where he did I will say he did a subpar job at best handling COVID because in the playoffs, there wasn't an outbreak. So I'll give him credit for that. We got to see everybody's best shot. But in terms of the regular season, how he handled COVID was pretty bad, right? So definitely subpar at best. But here we are, right? This is where we are in the Super Bowl. And there's just so many factors into it. I do think the Chiefs will win. Whether it's a close game, I think the spread is 3. I think the Chiefs will cover. I just don't see Tampa Bay winning. If I see them possibly winning, because it is the Super Bowl, but I think the Chiefs are just too good. They've been battle tested. They have the experience. They've been here before. And I just think they'll get it done. Like, hats off to Brady. This is his first year in a Bucs uniform, and he got him to a championship. But I just think the Chiefs are too much, too explosive, too creative with Eric Bellamy and their play calling. And I just think they'll find a way to get it done. Interesting story. The Chiefs linebackers coach had a drunk driving accident. A lot of people were injured, so he is not going to be coaching in the Super Bowl. He is yet to be charged. It just goes to show you guys, don't drink and drive, right? You could injure or kill somebody. It's just stupid actions like that. So it'll definitely be interesting since the linebackers coach is out. Is Tampa Bay going to be able to exploit Kansas City's mediocre run game, right? You look at guys like Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette. They certainly have the backs. You know what I mean? They got to use them. The issue is that Bruce Arians likes to throw intermediate and deep shots down the field. So Tampa Bay is going to have to completely switch their play calling and philosophy to give them a chance. Because if they don't run the clock against Kansas City, I mean, they just don't have a chance, right? They have to find a way to bleed the clock, get time of possession, keep getting first downs, and keep scoring on every drive, right? Tom Brady's a great game manager. He's capable of getting it done, right? Like I said, um, I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa Bay wins. I just think that the Chiefs um, have the advantage, right? I think it'll be a good game, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it, right? So I just want to hear your thoughts, your comments on this. Do you guys think the commercials will be good? Do you guys think they won't be good? How do you guys think the weekend's going to perform? The guy spent 7 million on a halftime game. My dad was like, "Oh, he's getting so much money to perform." I'm like, "Yeah, but he's spending $7 million. I better see some fireworks. I better see some freaking everything. I better see some explosions. I better see rockets. I better see some airplanes. I better see some lights. I better see everything for $7 million. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm just looking forward to it. You look at everything that happened with COVID, and it's just all going to come down to two teams. Who wants it? If Brady gets his seventh ring, oh my gosh, seventh, that would be insane. You look at Antonio Brown, how he went from the exempt list to going into the Super Bowl, right? You look at Le'Veon Bell, how he got cut from the Jets, and now he's in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? It's just amazing. All the storylines and the narratives behind it. I'm just looking forward to a good game. You know what I mean? Whoever wins or loses, I'm not a fan of either of these teams. I'm a Giants fan. We've got our own problems. But like I said, I will pick the Chiefs. I will pick them to cover. And it just should be a fun game, right? I believe it's going to be on CBS around 6:30 tomorrow. So hopefully you guys tune in and watch. If you guys are going out and party, I want you guys to stay safe, right? And yeah. So let me know who you guys have in the Super Bowl. Once as always, like, comment, and subscribe. We love you guys. Stay safe, and I'll see you later.